I've been reading on a Kindle for years, and these are the 8 mistakes that I've made before, and once I changed them, it really improved my reading experience, including the last tip I'll share with you, which for many Amazon customers might be something you're paying for, but you're missing out on. The first mistake is around hesitating to download books to your device. Because I remember when I first bought my Kindle, I was constantly overthinking whether or not to download a book that I just bought. My theory was that if I constantly kept downloading every single book that I was buying, I was going to get a cluttered library, but more importantly in my head was that I was going to run out of storage space. But the truth is that most books for Kindle actually take up a fraction of space on your device. And that means there's absolutely no benefit to keeping them in the cloud instead of on your device. Now, I download any new books straight away. It just gives me peace of mind that it's not taking up anywhere near as much storage space as I'd initially feared. But most importantly, if you are out of Wi-Fi, that means that you can now read anything you want to that's in your library without having to worry about being able to download it. The next mistake is connected to the first one, and this is about overpaying for storage you'll never use. And this is relevant whether you're thinking about buying your first Kindle or you're looking to upgrade your device. Because you might be tempted to think that more storage is automatically better, but that's not always the case with Kindle. A single ebook is tiny, and we're talking about a couple of megabytes for most books. Even the smallest storage options on most Kindles nowadays can hold thousands of books, so if you do end up paying more for the extra storage space, it's something you might never use. The only time I think this is worth considering is if you're someone that likes to download and hold on your device lots of audiobooks. They do typically take a larger amount of space on your Kindle. And if you do save money on the smaller storage option, you could always spend what you've saved on a nice case or just more books. The third mistake is leaving the screensaver ads on. Because when you first buy a Kindle, you can decide whether to save some money by going with ads on your device, or you can pay that little bit extra and have it completely ad-free. Now, when I first bought my Kindle, I actually decided to go for the cheaper option to have ads on it. But what I wasn't aware of was that you can actually decide to pay to remove these ads later on. The mistake I made was putting up with them for months without realizing you can actually change it. You can then pay a small amount to remove these ads and have it as a much cleaner, more premium feel to your device. Or the other option, which personally I love, is that you can have the book cover of what you're reading on your screensaver instead. Seeing the cover of your current book every time you pick it up is a small thing, but it keeps you connected to what you're reading. Mistake number 4 is not syncing across your devices. And this isn't really an issue if you only read from the one device. But as soon as you start to read from more options, whether that's your Kindle, more than one Kindle, and your phone, that's when all of a sudden syncing becomes crucial. Because you might find that you're reading on your Kindle in the morning, and then you're out and about in the afternoon, and you only have your phone and the Kindle app. But if you haven't synced your device, then it won't pick up from where you left in the book. Initially, this happened to me. I finished a chapter on my Kindle, opened my phone later, and I realized I was behind on my phone. That means you have to find your place manually. And that just creates a friction you don't need. So turning sync on is the fix to that problem. Plus, it also enables Whisper Sync for Audible and Kindle. So you can go between your Kindle or the Kindle app and your Audible, picking up wherever you left off on either. Quick one before we get into the remaining Kindle mistakes you want to avoid. Because if you are enjoying this video, I want to take this channel deeper than anywhere else on intentional tech that helps us stay more productive without the distractions. So that's things like Kindle, Kobo, Remarkable, books, and more. And every single subscriber genuinely helps to make that more possible. If it sounds like your sort of thing, it would mean a lot. Right, back to those Kindle mistakes. Mistake number 5 is all about letting your library become a mess. Because the more books you buy as your Kindle library grows, it's easy to do nothing and just have a wall of books. But what can happen from that is that you may get so many books that unfortunately you start to forget some of those books that you were excited about reading, but now they've fallen to the bottom of your library. Collections is the fix for this. You create your own folders and sort books however makes sense to you. My collections are sorted by the idea of what books spark joy in my life. This was inspired by the Marie Kondo idea for tidying in your house, and I find it works really well. If you're interested in doing something similar, I'll link the video I did on this in the description, so check that one out. But the main thing is more about finding collections that organize your library so that you can quickly find the books that you want to read. That means that when you come to finish a book and you want to find your next read, you're reducing that friction between moving on to your next book, and that just helps us to read more. The next mistake relates to reading comprehension, and it's not using highlights and notes on your Kindle. Because when I first got my Kindle, I used to just read books as they were, not making any annotations or highlights or notes. And what then happened was after I'd finished a book, even if it was one that I really enjoyed, I found that I was completely forgetting everything I'd read after a couple of months. The mistake I learned was that reading passively, not capturing anything at all, and letting it all just wash over me was the problem. Because a Kindle has all the tools you need to start actively reading immediately. My favourite two features here are note-taking and highlighting. With notes, I tend to try and capture any questions or feelings I've had after every single reading session. But if that doesn't feel achievable to you, try with something different. Maybe go for a chapter or a part of the book, or even if it feels better for you, just at the end of the book. You'll be amazed what difference just trying to actively read in this way makes for your comprehension. And then with highlights, this is just about capturing maybe a sentence or two or a passage which stands out to me in the moment. Plus, if you didn't know this, you can actually review all of your highlights online. I'll put a link in the description to that one so you can check out all of your own highlights. When I started to properly use these features, it completely changed how much I actually retain and take from what I read. Mistake number 7 is not sending your own documents to your Kindle. Because when I first got my Kindle, and knowing this from other people I've spoken to before, there's a belief that sending documents to your Kindle is somehow extremely difficult to do. But actually, once you know how to send your own files and documents to your Kindle, you'll realize just how easy it is and find you do it all the time. This can be work documents, research, PDFs you've been meaning to read. All of it can go on your Kindle instead of being read on a screen that strains your eyes. My favorite way of using the Send to Kindle feature is via email, because I tend to find that most of the files or documents that I want to send to my Kindle is already somewhere on my PC. So I can just drop them into an email and send them over. Now, if you haven't done this before, to find your email address for your Kindle, you need to go to manage your content and devices on your Amazon account, like this, and you'll be able to find your unique email address. You can also edit it to something that feels easier to remember if you want to. Plus, you can also use the Chrome extension for Send to Kindle, which allows you to send articles straight from the internet to your device. If you've got reading that's stacking up that's not already on your Kindle, and it's in a format that you can send, this is a great way to do reading on a device that doesn't strain your eyes. This final mistake is for any Amazon Prime members who aren't making the most out of Prime reading. Because when I first got my Kindle, I didn't realize that there was such a catalogue available for free as part of your Prime membership. So I was paying for Prime and never touching the books that come included with it. Prime Reading gives you access to books, magazines, and comics, all as part of your Prime membership, so there's nothing more to pay. But don't confuse this with Kindle Unlimited. The two are completely separate. Kindle Unlimited does have a much larger catalogue of books, comics, and magazines, but I was really surprised at how many books I've wanted to read within the Prime catalogue, especially if you enjoy the classics, because most of the classic books are listed under Amazon Classics and they are part of the Prime Reading catalogue. So before you buy your next book, check if it's already available to you. If you're already a Prime member, this is just a great way of potentially adding more books available to you that you might not have been aware of. So there we have it. 8 mistakes you'll never make again on your Kindle. And if you're looking to get more out of your device, I've compiled my 7 favourite features that have made the biggest difference to reading on my Kindle. It's completely free and the link is in the description below. And I'd love to hear from you. Which of these mistakes have you made before? Or is there another mistake that I haven't touched on which you think people should be aware of to avoid? I won't judge because I've made every single one of these mistakes. Subscribe for more content on intentional tech coming every single week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.